Have you ever stopped to think about, well, what really drives the big decisions for huge global organizations, like the United Nations, for instance, when they choose where to set up shop strategically?
Yeah,
It's clearly more than just, finding a convenient spot on the map, much more.
absolutely. It's strategy, efficiency, impact.
Exactly. And today we're doing a deep dive into something really fascinating. Nairobi, Kenya. It's quickly becoming a really critical hub for the UN.
Hmm.
And it's not just because it's a nice place, right? This is a deliberate strategic move. So our mission today is to unpack why. Why Nairobi? What are the forces behind the shift? And what does it mean for how things get done globally?
And what's really interesting here, as you said, is that it's not just shuffling offices around. It's not just geography.
Right.
We're seeing a pretty profound strategic realignment by the UN.
Hmm.
And it seems very clearly driven by this vision for better efficiency and, crucially, more direct impact.
Okay. And where are we getting this insight from?
Well, our deep dive today is based on recent updates, reports, directly from the UN office at Nairobi, that's UNON. So it gives us a kind of insider look at the thinking behind these changes.
Got it.
It helps us understand, how resources are being shifted and what that really signals for international development overall.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, we're talking about a massive global body. Efficiency isn't just nice to have, it's essential.
Totally essential.
You mentioned strategic realignment, and we know this connects to the UN Secretary-General's big efficiency agenda. Can you maybe break that down for us? What are the main goals there, and how does Nairobi fit in?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Secretary General's agenda, it's fundamentally about changing how the UN operates. The core goals are kind of threefold.
Okay.
First, cut administrative costs
Yeah.
significantly. Second, consolidate services, streamline things across different agencies. And third, this is key, bring the operations physically closer to the people, the communities they actually serve.
Right. Makes sense.
Zainab Hawa Bangura, she's the Undersecretary General and Director-General of UNON. She put it really well. She said, basically, by having agencies on one common premises, you save on rent, share back office services, and reduce duplication.
Simple logic, really. Less waste.
Exactly. Minimize the overheads, maximize the action on the ground. And it's important to stress this isn't about, suddenly shutting down New York or Geneva.
No mass exodus from the traditional HQs?
Not at all.
Uh,
It's more about strategically placing more staff, more resources closer to regions like Africa, where, let's face it, a huge chunk of the UN's programs and the people they help are actually located.
Okay, it absolutely makes logical sense, consolidate, cut duplication. But, for an organization as vast as the UN, how does saving on rent, sharing some admin staff, how does that actually translate into more help for people on the ground? That's the real bottom line, isn't it?
It is. That's a critical so what.
Yeah.
And, well, think about it this way. Imagine the funds that were previously locked up in, say, really expensive leases in places like Geneva or New York. Now those funds are freed up. They can be strategically repurposed. So maybe that means doubling the budget for a key vaccination program in East Africa.
Right. Tangible impact.
Exactly. Or expanding clean water projects to more villages. Or supporting more schools and refugee camps. These aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet. They translate into direct increases in program delivery.
I see.
Make sure every dollar, every euro is working harder. It directly boosts the UN's ability to respond to crises, drive development, support people where the need is greatest. It's about maximizing that footprint, ethically managing the resources they have.
That leads us straight into another, well, huge and very concrete advantage, the actual cost efficiency of Nairobi itself.
Oh, yeah.
Because when we think global hubs, we often picture places where just existing costs a fortune. Nairobi flips that script, doesn't it?
It really does. The contrast is pretty stark. I mean, take New York. You look for a modest two-bedroom apartment, you could easily be paying over $6,000 a month. In Nairobi, you can find really good quality housing for, a fraction of that. And that difference extends to operational costs, too. Utilities, local services, much more affordable.
Okay.
And then there's the climate. This is the big one. Zainab Bangura pointed this out. We don't need heating or cooling in Nairobi, and that makes a huge difference.
Right. No massive heating bills in winter or AC running constantly in summer.
Exactly. We're talking about avoiding potentially millions of dollars every single year just on climate control.
Yeah.
Millions. And that money, it can go straight into programs.
Millions just on energy savings. That alone is a powerful argument. But okay, it's not just the cost of the building itself, is it? Staffing, that's always a major expense for international bodies. How does Nairobi stack up there?
And that's a really important point. Thinking about how global organizations can tap into local expertise, not just for cost, but for genuine understanding of the context. Chris Kirkcaldy is the Director of Administrative Services at UNON. He highlighted this. Nairobi has this deep pool of highly qualified local talent. Kenyan professionals, regional experts.
Okay.
So many roles can be filled by people who already understand the local nuances, the challenges. This cuts down massively on the need and the cost, the complexity of relocating international staff. You avoid the big allowances, the school fees.
It's a win-win then. Saves money, builds local capacity.
Precisely. It boosts the local economy and brings invaluable local insight right into the heart of UN operations.
Oh, okay. It's not just clever budgeting. Nairobi's appeal is also about these fundamental strategic advantages. And strategy means looking beyond just the dollars and cents. What about its actual position on the globe, its geography? How does that help the UN coordinate everything?
Yeah, beyond the cost stuff, Nairobi has some really compelling global advantages people might miss. First off, the time zone. It's incredibly useful.
How so?
Well, it allows UN operations there to have a significant overlap during working hours with both Asia and Latin America.
Oh, okay. Bridging continents.
Exactly. For a global organization, coordinating across time zones is a constant headache. Nairobi makes it much easier. Bangura actually gave a great example. She said, for a global operation, this time zone is very strategic. Within 12 hours, we can reach as far as Peru in Latin America or Indonesia in Asia.
Wow, 12 hours gets you almost anywhere. That's incredible reach.
It really is.
So it's like a central hub for a huge part of the world. And it's not just business hours, is it? We touched on quality of life staff, get a good life there, lower costs, that makes it attractive. But what specifically makes it so good for international staff and their families?
That's such a critical piece, and it's more than just being affordable. Nairobi itself is vibrant. It has a great cultural scene, local, international mix, great restaurants, arts,
Okay.
and crucially for families,
Yeah.
schools. There are loads of high-quality international schools, different curricula. That's always a huge factor for UN staff moving with kids.
Top priority, absolutely.
And then, there's Kenya itself. The natural beauty is stunning. Staff have access to world-class national parks, wildlife, the coast. It's all relatively close. It offers a pretty exceptional work-life balance.
So lower costs, culture, good schools, amazing nature.
Yeah. That whole package, it helps the UN attract and critically retain top global talent. People are more likely to stay longer if their whole family feels settled and supported.
Yeah.
And that stability, that feeds directly into the UN's effectiveness.
It all paints a very compelling picture. Cost efficiency, local talent, time zone, quality of life. But none of that works without the actual bricks and mortar to support it, right? You need robust infrastructure. What does Nairobi actually offer in terms of facilities for such a huge international presence?
You're spot on. This isn't some minor outpost. It's a major institutional base. Nairobi has this huge 140-acre UNON compound in Jigiri. It was actually donated by Kenya way back in the 70s. And this compound, it provides secure, purpose-built offices, fantastic conference facilities, all the logistical support you need. It means the UN isn't so reliant on expensive private rentals. Everything's centralized, more secure.
Okay.
And here's a really key fact. Nairobi is currently one of only 4 UN headquarters globally. The others are New York, Geneva, Vienna. And it's the only one in the global south.
The only one. That's quite something. Really highlights its importance.
It really does. It already hosts something like more than 20 different UN agencies, funds, programs. It's a genuine powerhouse for cooperation in Africa and beyond.
Wow. And I assume to keep up with this growing role, they've had to invest in expanding this already big campus. What kind of scale are we talking about?
Oh, the investment is significant. And it really underlines Nairobi's long-term strategic value. The UN General Assembly has approved nearly $340 million in expansion projects just for UNON.
340 million. That's a serious commitment.
It is. It includes building 6 completely new office blocks and a massive upgrade, about $265 million worth to its conference facilities.
Okay.
To give you some context, that's one of the UN Secretariat's biggest investments in Africa, outside of peacekeeping stuff.
So what's the goal of all this spending? Just more desks.
Well, more space is part of it, obviously, to handle the steady increase in staff, but it's also about modernization, bringing everything up to the absolute highest global standards for efficiency for digital collaboration.
Makes sense.
And, crucially, improving accessibility. making the entire campus much more accessible for people with disabilities. That reflects a broader UN commitment to inclusion. So better tech, greener buildings, more labs for innovation, alongside just more room.
Okay, so with all these advantages clicking into place, the huge investment, this clear efficiency drive, it sounds like Nairobi's set for a massive influx of UN people. Are we talking like a mass migration to East Africa soon?
Well, maybe not quite a mass migration in the way that sounds. Chris Kirkcaldy from UNON, he actually cautioned about that. He said reports of some immediate huge shift were a bit exaggerated.
Oh, okay, so manage expectations.
Exactly. He noted that while the trend is real, it's designed to be more of a gradual strategic evolution, not a sudden upheaval. Unless, some major financial crisis or world event suddenly forces a faster pace.
Right.
So UN's playing the long game here, building capacity steadily, managing resources carefully, ensuring it's sustainable. Not just a quick, disruptive move that could overwhelm things locally. It's measured growth.
That makes sense. Gradual, strategic, fits with the kind of planning you'd expect. And it sounds like it's not just about saving money, but making it a place people genuinely want to be.
That's it, exactly.
Right.
Kirkcaldy called Nairobi a hugely desirable duty station. That phrase really sums it up. It's not solely about the financial side we've talked about, vital as that is. It's also the energy of the place, the quality of life, the strategic position. It all combines to create this environment that's attractive, efficient, and ultimately helps the UN be more impactful. It lets them save resources and foster a really dedicated, effective workforce.
So what does this all mean for you listening in?
Well, next time you hear about the UN's work, maybe humanitarian aid, development projects, peacekeeping, you'll have, I hope, a much richer sense of the strategic thinking behind where that work happens and how it gets done.
Mhm.
Nairobi's rise as this key UN hub is this powerful mix of smart financial planning, great geographical perks, a really good quality of life for the people doing the work, and this solid growing infrastructure. It's kind of a masterclass in how big global players adapt and optimize for impact in our changing world.
And if we zoom out just for a final thought, Nairobi's story is, I think, a really powerful example of the shifting global landscape. You see the growing strategic weight of cities in the global south in world affairs.
Yeah, definitely. This shift shows a recognition of operational realities, efficiency, yes, but also where the UN's work is often most needed on the ground. And maybe it leaves us with a question to ponder. What other global cities might be poised for similar strategic growth? What does it tell us about the future of international cooperation? How organizations might operate globally down the line?
Food for thought indeed. There's definitely more to watch in this space.